Think about a world where AI thinks for you. This is exactly what Deepseek R1 is. However, let me clarify a few things in this video so that you don't spend your hard disk space and bandwidth just to get confused. Welcome! In this video, I will talk about what the Deepseek R1 and the Distilled models really are. Buckle up because I barely understand what I'm talking about. Let's start with Deepseek R1, state-of-the-art thinking model that beats O1 pretty decisively on mini benchmarks, real-world use and price. Spoiler alert, it's entirely free, but there's a catch. Yes, you've heard it right. We have an open thinking model that beats closed AI's groundbreaking and expensive GPT-O1. Now, what's the catch if it's open and free? Well, it's just too big. You can't run this on your home computer, unfortunately. The unquantized model is fucking 1.4 terabytes big. Yes, terabytes. Okay, you might say that you will quantize it and it will work fine. Q4 is still 400 gigabytes, which means you roughly need 18 RTX 3090 GPUs to get this thing work purely on VRAM. You of course can offload the layers, but you still need a server mobile to have more than 256 gigabytes of RAM. You can even offload to disk if you want to get a token per week, because that's how slow it would be. Like I said, if you're a mere hobbyist like me, it's out of the question to run this model in a meaningful way. If you have seen a video that claims otherwise, I would be very suspicious about their claims. This is a simple equation. You have to sacrifice quality for speed or speed for quality. And it's just not worth trying if your machine isn't built for it in this case. Or so I thought, but everything in this field ages like milk in a couple of days. People, Daniel from Onslaught to be precise, have managed to quantize the giant R1 model into a manageable size. It actually is kind of usable in a high-end home computer now. Normally these 1-bit, 2-bit quants don't work well. But they have studied the model architecture and discovered a way to quantize the model in an extremely efficient way, dropping the model size to a few hundred gigabytes. Yes, this is still huge, but remember what I said about disk offloading? In this case, people managed to get a couple of tokens per second doing so. The smallest model seems to be coherent enough to make a Flappy Bird game from scratch. I will later try to run this monster on my poor gaming rig. Now back to model introduction. Deepseek offers R1 for free on their website. I know, this is not very local and private, but hey, I don't personally have a room full of GPUs. You just need to create a new account or log in via your Google account. Deepseek offers a high amount of limit for free use, but this might vary if the website is too busy. That said, in their privacy policy, Deepseek says that they collect your inputs. This is expected as they want to improve the model with human feedback. Personally, I don't care, because you shouldn't put your private data in any online service unless it's absolutely necessary. Here, I asked the model itself what it thinks about Deepseek's privacy status, and funnily enough, the answer is unclear. So please don't put your social security number or dick pics in it. Although, to be very clear, if you are using a local model, the data goes nowhere but your computer. This is true if you have downloaded the R1 model and somehow managed to run it locally. Make sure you are using a trusted format like safe tensors and scan your computer from time to time. Moving on, let's talk about Distilled R1 models. Many people are rightfully confused about these. Why is there more of them, with the same name but different parameter counts? The answer is a bit complex, bear with me for now. Usually this is how large language models are created. First, an empty model is pre-trained with tons of unlabeled data. After this stage, fine-tuning takes place to make it follow instructions. Then, you can make the model learn from human feedback and improve the output quality with methods like DPO. As far as I understand, Deepseek R1 skips some of these steps, uses a much simpler reinforcement learning method, and discovers the correct patterns this way. In this case, during the fine-tuning, the model has to think about the answer, which is then compared to the ground truth. Now, we need to understand how impressive this model is in many different ways, and how it caused a shockwave amongst tech companies. Deepseek managed to create a state-of-the-art model with a fraction of the training costs. For reference, in an interview, Mr. ChatGPT himself said that it cost around $100 million to train GPT-4. Deepseek R1 training, on the other hand, cost just under $6 million. This is a very important breakthrough because China has been sanctioned by the US and they can't buy the cutting-edge AI GPUs. So, Deepseek, an independent side project, basically kicked OpenAI in the balls, the world's leading AI company. How the tables have turned, huh? This breakthrough, of course, caused some stuff. What kind of stuff? This kind. And this kind. Deepseek, a side project of some quirky Chinese billionaire, defeated OpenAI in many metrics apart from benchmarks. They have come up with a novel approach to training, decreased the cost exponentially, and brought open source neck to neck with multi-billion-dollar companies. It also passed ChatGPT in Play Store as the most popular app. Proved that they don't need expensive, cutting-edge Nvidia cards to develop state-of-the-art technology, which is why Nvidia stocks nosedive in the past couple of days. I mean, this model can write apps, reason almost like a human, and generate extremely impressive answers.
But will it tell you about the Tiananmen Square?
I mean, maybe not, but I am not interested in debating politics with a chunky linear algebra machine. You should not take things LLMs write as facts. Yes, we have come a crazy long way in just 2 years, but some fundamental issues with LLMs have not changed much. They still use tokenizers, they still acquire bias from datasets and hallucinate about stuff, just like a human does. Deepseek R1 decisively beats O1 Mini and matches or beats OpenAI's expensive O1 1217 model. In these benchmarks, I find SV Bench Verified and GPQA Diamond interesting. SV Bench basically evaluates models by making them solve GitHub issues automatically. Coding, especially in advanced projects, is a multi-dimensional action in which you have to think about other modules as well as things like feature and past compatibility. OpenAI models have been excellent at coding, but it seems like Deepseek R1 has the upper hand here. I bet with better workflows and fine-tuning, this score could be much higher. GPQA Diamond is a Google-proof benchmark including 448 questions written by domain experts. Currently, PhD students can achieve an accuracy up to 74%, while non-experts could only reach 34% even with Google Assistance. While O1 passes the human expert threshold, R1 is also very close to this, again leaving O1 mini behind while being significantly cheaper and open. Moving on, there is an interesting reason why R1 excels at math benchmarks and is closely related to their training method. Math is logical and straightforward, which means there are objective answers to questions and equations. Some smart people in Deepseek use this in their advantage. If you have a huge model trained on the entire internet, and possibly more, there isn't much you can teach to improve it further. But what if you taught the model how to think and question itself? The process is roughly like this. Here's a question, think about it 64 times. According to our policy, you will be rewarded whenever you find the correct answer, which we will confirm automatically. If you are right, you get reward points. If you are wrong, try again in a different way. This way, the model does not learn from new data, but learns which approach is correct. And thanks to generalization, this thinking approach works in unseen data as well. This is my very surface level understanding, and I recommend you to check out R1 paper and Transformers docs for a deeper dive in. Back to the benchmarks for a little bit. Recently, Center for AI Safety has released something called Humanities Last Exam, which is supposed to be a very hard, complex benchmark. It is quite new, so there is almost no chance any of the custom-built questions were leaked into training datasets. Here's a couple of examples from it. And these are the results of this exam. Deepseek R1 is placed right above the famous O1. Calibration error is also pretty impressive, which signifies that the model is prone to be uncertain about its answers and avoids hallucinating better compared to other models. However, if you have been using the R1 for a while, you will notice the overthinking problem that happens pretty frequently. It's just like me sometimes. I guess Deepseek or other people will train the model further to reduce these overthinking moments, which cause a lot of wasted token and worse final answers. Now that we understand how insane Deepseek R1 really is, let's move on to the mystery of other R1 models. But before that, I'm going to let this clip end. With the flagship model's open release, Deepseek also released multiple models ranging from 1B to 70B. These are in fact distilled from Deepseek R1 with supervised fine-tuning. Unlike the original model, they do not have the GRPO training, but they aren't necessarily too different in practice. From the list, 14B and 32B versions are noteworthy because according to the overall feedback and benchmarks since the big release, it seems like the smaller models struggle a lot more with the thinking action. This is somewhat expected considering how chain of thought improves bigger model outputs a lot more. Honestly, I think this is a simple equation. More parameters means you have more attention and learn information to work with. To keep this short, I won't dive into the benchmarks again. As a side note, I should mention that since February 9th, a small update has been made in the Distilled model configs. Deepseek have added the think phrase to generation config right after the assistant phrase. If you have used these local models and weren't impressed, it could definitely be due to this. Before the big moment I illustrated here, let me show you the difference by loading the Distilled 14B model. The seed and other hyperparameters are the same, I just manually forced the thinking phrase at the bottom video. I'm using pure Llama CPP here to make this easier, but I really don't recommend it if you're a casual Windows user because building it with CUDA support is pure cancer. A lot of things change or get updated in a month's time, which can make a potential guide useless very quick. As you can see, the model did not generate a reasoning token itself. Although the output looks similar, it's not the same. There might also be template issues depending on which frontend you use. Now we can finish this video by running the real R1 on my poor PC. I will use pure Llama CPP again because for all intents and purposes, most front-end UIs are built upon Llama CPP. I tried Cobalt, but for some reason it refused to load the model. I'm not even going to try Oobabooga because it's using a Python fork of Llama CPP, which is slower and possibly older. I have 4 disks, 64GB of RAM, and an RTX 3090. So a total of 88 GB of high-speed space excluding the reserved amount in RAM. Okay, the 2-bit model is 200GB in total, which will definitely not fit in. But thankfully I have a 4TB NVMe disk. I placed my split TGF files in a folder there, and Llama CPP will page disk memory to offload layers. I'm keeping the first 6 layers in my GPU to hopefully speed up the generation. So, this part of the video is 20x sped up. The generation is not very fast. I suspect this is due to many different reasons. For example, I am running this on Windows. I didn't clear up all my RAM and I didn't build an optimized fork of Llama CPP. You can see my disk 3 fighting for its life while my RAM is 99% full. I don't know why my GPU is dead silent though. Okay, that's enough. Even at 20x speed, this is painful. 3 tokens per minute is not ideal, I would say, but keep your eye open. No one knows what will happen in a couple of months. In a nutshell, I think it's better for an average user like you and me to use the Deepseek's website whenever it's not busy with a billion requests. Just make sure you are not sharing your personal details. We still can use the Distilled models locally at a very reasonable speed as well. Those will be as secure as anything in your computer right now. That's it for the video everyone, hopefully this was somewhat informative and entertaining. Thank you for watching.